Have you ever bought something from a second-hand shop, thinking you found a treasure, only to realize you've brought home a nightmare? This is the story of Armin, a college student who learned that some warnings should never be ignored. It all started in 2022 in a quiet town at a dusty little second-hand shop. There, sitting on a wooden counter, was a Labubu doll. Taped to its box was a small handwritten note. "Do not keep it in your bedroom." The shop owner casually mentioned it came from a house clearance after its previous owner died suddenly and without explanation. Armin, thinking it was just a sales gimmick to make the collectible seem more mysterious, just laughed it off and bought it. He had no idea what he had just invited into his life. That very first night, he placed the doll on his bedroom shelf, facing his bed. He woke up abruptly at exactly 2:17 a.m. The sound was faint. Barely there's something shifting against wood. He told himself it was just the old shelf settling in the night. But then he noticed it. The doll wasn't facing forward anymore. It was angled slightly toward him, as if its glassy, painted eyes had adjusted to watch him sleep. A shiver ran down his spine, but he dismissed it. Morning light has a way of making nighttime fears seem foolish. He convinced himself it was all in his imagination. But Armin had a security camera in his room, installed weeks earlier. He decided to review the footage just to put his mind at ease. As he scrolled through the recording, everything was still. Nothing moved until he got to 2:17 a.m. At that exact moment, the video glitched. The frame froze and scrambled for exactly 3 seconds. When the picture returned to normal, the doll was in its new position, staring right at him. His blood ran cold. It wasn't his imagination. Something had happened. The disturbances escalated over the following nights. His bedroom door, which he always locked, would creak open on its own. He'd hear faint tapping sounds coming from inside his closet. And whenever the lights were off, he felt the subtle but unmistakable feeling of being watched. It was a heavy, suffocating presence in the room. Yet, every morning when he checked, the doll was always exactly where he had left it the previous day. It was as if it knew that moving in the daylight would break some unspoken rule, revealing its secret too soon. On the 4th night, Armin decided he needed definitive proof. He had to test it. He took a pen and made a tiny, almost invisible ink dot on the doll's foot. He then carefully positioned it against the wall on his shelf. To be absolutely sure, he set up his phone to record the doll all night. He went to bed, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and anticipation. Once again, at 2:17 a.m., he woke up. This time, it wasn't a sound that woke him. It was the opposite. The silence was so heavy, so absolute, it felt intentional and unnatural. His eyes started across the dark room. The shelf was empty. Panic seized him. He scanned the room, his breath caught in his throat. And then he saw it. The doll was now sitting upright on his desk chair, several feet away from where he had left it. Even in the dim light, he could see the tiny ink mark on its foot. His phone lay on the bedside table, its screen frozen on a timestamp from minutes earlier. In that paralyzing moment, he understood. This thing, whatever it was, didn't need dramatic movements or loud noises. The terror wasn't in what it did, but in the quiet certainty that it was doing it. He gathered every ounce of courage he had and flicked on the light. The doll's painted smile seemed different. It wasn't physically altered, but the expression felt changed. It was a look of smug awareness, as if it knew its secret had been discovered and was enjoying his fear. The next morning, shaken and desperate, Armin drove back to the second-hand shop. He needed answers. He was going to demand an explanation. But when he arrived, the shop was dark and locked. A new handwritten sign was taped to the door, closed indefinitely. Confused and frustrated, he asked the owners of the neighboring stores what had happened. They told him the shop owner had died suddenly 2 nights earlier. The time of death, exactly to 17 am. Denial was no longer an option. Armin knew he had to get rid of the doll. He sealed it inside a box, taped it shut, drove across town, and threw it into a public dumpster, burying it under piles of trash. He felt a wave of relief wash over him. It was over. That evening, as he unlocked his apartment door, the relief vanished, replaced by a cold, suffocating dread. There, placed neatly in the center of his bed, facing the entrance as if it were waiting for him, was a Labubu doll. His eyes immediately went to its foot. The ink mark was gone, completely vanished. There was no trace that he had ever tried to test its reality, no proof of his desperate experiment. It was mocking him, telling him that he had no control. That night, sleep was impossible. He lay in bed, staring into the darkness, waiting. At 2:17 am, he didn't wake to a sound or a movement. He woke to the unmistakable sensation of warm breath against his face. He forced his eyes open. The doll was on the pillow right next to him, its face inches from his. Its expression was the same blank, painted smile, but its presence was overwhelming, undeniable. From that point on, Armin stopped telling people the full story. He found that whenever he tried to describe what had happened, strange things would follow. Lights in his house would flicker and die. Clocks would freeze at 2:17. He'd catch his reflection in a mirror, and it would lag for a fraction of a second before catching up. He eventually moved to a new apartment, and he claims he finally got rid of the doll for good, though he never says how. But even now, he refuses to sleep with his bedroom door open. And to this day, he swears the most terrifying part of his entire ordeal wasn't that the doll moved, or that it kept returning, or that it watched him sleep. The most terrifying part was that it never once needed to make a sound to prove it was there. Thank you for watching. If you have your own creepy doll story, share it in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more unsettling tales. Stay safe.